Good morning everyone. So today we will be discussing about the chapter 2 of class 9 history, socialism in Europe and the Russian Revolution. So the French Revolution opened up the possibility of creating a dramatic change in the way in which society was structured. In India, Raja Ram Mohan Roy and Desrosiers talked of the significance of the French Revolution, and many others debated the ideas of post-revolutionary Europe. Through the revolution in Russia, socialism became one of the most significant and powerful ideas to shape the society in the 20th century. So children, now we will discuss about liberals, radicals and conservatives. So first let's discuss about who were the liberals. One of the groups which looked to change the society were the liberals. It was a group of thinkers, scholars and philosophers who wanted to change the society. They did not believe in universal adult franchise, that is the right of every citizen to vote. They felt that men of property mainly should have the right to vote. They also did not want the voting right for women. So now let's discuss about who were the radicals. The radicals favored government based on the majority of a country's population. They were not against the existence of private property, but they disliked the concentration of property only in the hands of a few. Children, now let's discuss about who were the conservatives. So the conservatives wanted to transform the society, but through a very slow process. They believed that the past had to be respected. So children, I hope you might have understood who were the liberals, radicals and conservatives. Now let's move on to industrial society and social change. It was a time of social and economic changes. It was also a time when new cities came up and new industrialized nations developed. Railways expanded and industrial revolution also occurred. Industrialization brought men, women and children to factories. The working hours were very long, but the wages were very poor. The housing and sanitation were the problems as the towns were growing very rapidly. Now let's move on to the coming of socialism to Europe. One of the most far-reaching visions of how a society should be structured was socialism. The socialists had different visions of the future. Some believed in the idea of cooperatives. So let me give you 3 examples. First is Robert Woolman, a leading English manufacturer and a socialist, sought to build a cooperative community called the New Harmony in Indiana. Second example, Louis Blanc of France wanted the government to encourage cooperatives and replace the capitalist. Now moving on to example 3, Karl Marx believed that to free themselves from capitalist exploitation, the workers had to construct a radically socialist society where all the properties were socially controlled. Now children, let me explain you about what is Second International. It was an international body formed by the socialists to coordinate the various activities of the socialists at the international level. The workers in England and Germany began forming associations to fight for better living and working conditions. In Germany, these associations worked closely with the Social Democratic Party and helped it win parliamentary seats. By the year 1905, the socialists and the trade unionists formed a Labour Party in Britain and a Socialist Party in France. So children, now let me explain you what is the Russian Revolution. The fall of monarchy in February 1917 and the events of October are normally called as the Russian Revolution. In 1914, Tsar Nicholas II ruled Russia and its empire. Besides the territory around Moscow, the Russian Empire included current-day Finland, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, parts of Poland, Ukraine and Belarus. It stretched to the Pacific and comprised today's Central Asian states as well as Georgia, Armenia and Azerbaijan. So let's discuss about how was the economy and society at that time. At the beginning of the 20th century, the vast majority of Russia's people were agriculturalists. Around 85% of the Russian Empire's population earned their living from agriculture. Russia was also a major exporter of grains. The women made up of 31% of the factory labor by 1914, but they were paid very less compared to that of men. The nobles got the power and position through their services to the Tsar, not through local popularity. In Russia, the peasants wanted the lands of the nobles to be given to them. They refused to pay rent and even murdered the landlords. In the year 1902, this occurred on a large scale in South Russia. In 1905, such incidents took place all over Russia. So children, now let me explain you about socialism in Russia. The socialists were active in the countryside through the late 19th century. They formed the Socialist Revolutionary Party in 1900. The Socialist Revolutionary Party was a Russian political party formed in the year 1900 to struggle for the peasants' rights and demanded that the land belonging to the nobles should be transferred to the peasants. Lenin was a revolutionary leader of Russia. He led the Bolshevik Revolutionary of Russia. Lenin felt that peasants were not one united group. Some were poor and others were rich, and some others worked as laborers, while some of them were capitalists who employed workers. Now moving on to the Bloody Sunday incident. The year 1904 was a particularly bad one for the Russian workers. The prices of essential goods rose so quickly that the real wages declined by 20%. In January 1905, a large number of peaceful workers led by Father Gapon reached the Winter Palace in St. Petersburg to present a petition to the Tsar. The workers were attacked by the police. Over 100 workers were killed and about 300 were injured. Since this incident took place on Sunday, so it came to be known as the Bloody Sunday incident. Now let's discuss the consequences. The Tsar, under pressure from the masses, was forced to announce his manifesto, which led to the formation of Duma. So children, Duma means the Russian parliament, which was created in 1905 for the first time. The Tsar dismissed the first Duma within 75 days. He re-elected the second Duma within 3 months. He changed the voting laws and packed the third Duma with the conservative politicians. Now children, we will read about the First World War and the Russian Revolution. The First World War is considered as one of the major factors responsible for the Russian Revolution of 1917. First, loss of soldiers. In the First World War, Russia lost more than 7 million soldiers. So there was a discontent among the masses. Second is destruction of crops. The war led to the destruction of crops, homes, and industries. So, over 3 million people became refugees. Third, impact on industries. Russian industry was dependent on other countries and was cut off from other suppliers of industrial goods. The last point is shortage of workers. There was also a shortage of workers as most of the workers were sent to the army. Now children, let me explain you about what do you mean by April thesis. So Lenin was one of the most important leader of the Bolshevik party. He led the Russian Revolution of 1917. He declared that the war should be brought to a close. Lands should be transferred to the peasants and banks should be nationalized. So these three demands were known as Lenin's April thesis. Now moving on to the October Revolution. October Revolution occurred in October 1917. It was led under the leadership of Lenin. The uprising began on 24th October. Though Prime Minister Kerensky resisted, but the seizure was complete within a day. The Bolshevik Party was renamed as the Russian Communist Party. In November 1917, the Bolsheviks conducted the elections to the Constituent Assembly, but they failed to gain the majority support. In January 1918, the assembly rejected the Bolshevik measures and dismissed the assembly. Children, now let's move on to what is civil war. The impact of land redistribution policy on the soldiers. When the Bolsheviks ordered land redistribution, the Russian army began to break up. The soldiers, mostly the peasants, wished to go home for the redistribution and they deserted. Second point, opposition from the Greens and Whites. During 1918 and 1919, the Greens, who were the socialist revolutionaries, and the Whites, who were the pro-Tsarist, controlled most of the Russian Empire. The leaders moved to South Russia and organized troops to Bolsheviks, who were also called as Reds. The Greens and Whites were backed by the French, American, British and the Japanese troops. In many parts, the Bolshevik colonists brutally massacred the local nationalists in the name of defending socialism. So now we will discuss the last portion of the chapter, which is the collectivization policy of Stalin. The collectivization policy was introduced by Stalin, who came to power immediately after the death of Lenin. It was argued that the grain shortage was partly due to the small size of the holdings. To develop modern farms and run them along industrial lines with machinery, it was necessary to eliminate kulaks. Kulaks means the well-to-do peasants of Russia. From 1929, the government forced all the peasants to cultivate in collective farms called kolkhos. The peasants worked on the land and the kolkhoz profit was shared. Between 1921 to 1931, the number of cattle fell by half. Those who resisted the collectivization program were severely punished. So children, with this our chapter has come to an end. So today we had already discussed about the liberals, radicals, conservatives. We discussed about the Russian Revolution, February Revolution, October Revolution. We also discussed about the Bloody Sunday incident and the collectivization policy of Stalin. So with this, children, our chapter has come to an end. Thank you and have a great day ahead.